नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, The Advent of Lord Krishna, Introduction. Text number 39. Dehe panchatvam apanne. Dehe panchatvam apanne. Dehe panchatvam apanne. Dehi karma anugo avashaha. Dehi karmanugo vashaha. Dehi karmanugo vashaha. Dehantaram anuprapya. Dehantaram anuprapya. Praptanam tyajate vapuhu. Praptanam tyajate vapuhu. Dehe panchattvamapanne. Dehi karmanugo vashaha. Dehantaram anuprapya. Praptanam tyajate vapuhu. Dehe panchatvamapanne. Dehi karmanugo vashaha. Dehantaram anuprapya. Praptanam tyajate vapuhu. Dehe panchatvamapanne. Dehi karmanugo vashaha. Dehantaram anuprapya. Praktanam tyajate vapuhu. Dehe panchatvamapanne. Dehi karmanugo vashaha. Dehantaram anuprapya. Praktanam tyajate vapuhu. Dehe, when the body, panchatvamapanne, turns into 5 elements. Dehi, the proprietor of the body, the living being. Karma anugaha, following the reactions of his own fruitive activities. Avashaha, spontaneously, automatically. Deha antaram, another body made of material elements. Anuprapya, receiving as a result. Praktanam, the former. Tyajate, gives up. Vapuhu, body. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. When the present body turns to dust and is again reduced to 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, the proprietor of the body, the living being, automatically receives another body of material elements according to his fruitive activities. When the next body is obtained, he gives up the present body. Please repeat this translation after me. When the present body turns to dust and is again reduced to 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, the proprietor of the body, the living being, automatically receives another body of material elements according to his fruitive activities. When the next body is obtained, he gives up the present body. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, which presents the beginning of spiritual understanding. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara prapter dhiras tatra na muhyati. The translation of this verse, this is from 2nd chapter, 13th verse. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. That's the translation. A person or an animal is not the material body. Rather, the material body is the covering of the living being. Bhagavad Gita compares the body to a dress and elaborately explains how one changes dresses one after another. The same Vedic knowledge is confirmed here. The living being, the soul, is constantly changing bodies one after another. Even in the present life, the body changes from childhood to boyhood, from boyhood to youth, and from youth to old age. Similarly, when the body is too old to continue, the living being gives up this body and, by the laws of nature, automatically gets another body according to his fruitive activities, desires, and ambitions. The laws of nature control this sequence, and therefore, as long as the living entity is under the control of the external material energy, the process of bodily change takes place automatically according to one's fruitive activities. Vasudeva therefore wanted to impress upon Kamsa that if he committed this sinful act of killing a woman, in his next life he would certainly get a material body still more conditioned to the sufferings of material existence. Thus Vasudeva advised Kamsa not to commit sinful activities. One who commits sinful activities because of ignorance, tamoguna, obtains a lower body. Karanam gunasangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. Bhagavad Gita 13.22. There are hundreds and thousands of different species of life. Why are there higher and lower bodies? One receives these bodies according to the contaminations of material nature. If in this life one is contaminated by the mode of ignorance and sinful activities, dushkruti, in the next life, by the laws of nature, one will certainly get a body full of suffering. The laws of nature are not subservient to the whimsical desires of the conditioned soul. Our endeavor, therefore, should be to associate always with Sattva Guna and not indulge in Rajoguna or Tamoguna, Rajas Tamo Bhava. Lusty desires and greed keep the living entity perpetually in ignorance and prevent him from being elevated to the platform of Sattva Guna or Shuddha Sattva Guna. One is advised to be situated in Shuddha Sattva Guna, devotional service, for thus one is immune to the reactions of the three modes of material nature. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is spoken by Vasudeva. He is speaking to Kamsa. Vasudeva has got a crisis. Kamsa is about to kill Devaki just because Kamsa heard a prophecy that the eighth child born of Devaki will be the cause of Kamsa's death, will kill Kamsa. So immediately Vasudeva is thinking how to save Devaki's life. Because Kamsa is an intelligent person, Vasudeva is thinking, let me try to appeal to his intelligence, that try to understand you are not the body. After all, death applies only to the body. And if an intelligent person is able to understand this, then dhirastatra namuhyati. Bhagavad says such a person who understands I am different from this body and death applies only to the body. Namuhyati. He is not bewildered. He is not afraid. He is not mistakenly thinking that when this body dies, everything is finished. He does not think like that. So in briefly telling Kamsa, reminding Kamsa, one cannot teach a person at the time of danger about all these philosophical truths. So he is just trying to appeal to Kamsa's intelligence. Now, Kamsa impulsively took out his sword and grabbed Devaki's hair. Such impulsive actions by an intelligent person is because of temporarily being overpowered by the situation and losing his intelligence. But Vasudeva is very sober. Vasudeva is not affected in his intelligence by even the imminent danger to Devaki's life. He is not reacting in a impulsive way. He is very sober. So he is a dhira. This is an example. Dhirastatra namuhyati. Example is Vasudeva. Devaki's life is in danger, but he's not losing his intelligence. Using his intelligence, he's also trying to appeal to Kamsa's intelligence by first of all pacifying him. So he's speaking very soberly and very patiently he is trying to explain in brief, very briefly, that death is certain. Previous verse, he said, death is certain. One who's taken birth is sure to die. And death is born along with the body. What is the meaning of this? This is explained by Prahlad Maharaj very nicely in the Bhagavatam. Sukham aindriyakam daitya deha yogena dehinam. Deha yoga. When we get a body, there is a certain lifespan of this body that is fixed at the time of birth itself. Not only the lifespan is fixed, but also the quantity of material happiness and distress is also fixed up in this body. This is a very confidential subject, that we are different from this body. We are spirit soul. We are not the body. And this body, at the time of birth, certain amount of lifespan, certain distress, and certain happiness is fixed up. And this distress and happiness we'll experience throughout our life in this body. It will unfold exactly according to Kala. Now, please try to understand this fact. All these truths are very systematically explained in the Bhagavad Gita. For it's so important for everyone to understand the message of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And simply by understanding this Bhagavad Gita, one can conquer over death. That is the standard of the Bhagavad Gita. It's no ordinary book. It's not even just another scripture. It is actually the topmost Vedic literature. The topmost. It is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. It has to be that standard. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly explained. This is Prabhupada is now quoting from the Bhagavad Gita. And what Vasudeva is telling, Dehe Panchatvam Apanne. When the present body turns to dust and is again reduced to 5 elements, Panchatvam means 5 elements. This Deha, this body, is made up of 5 elements. And these 5 elements are so cleverly combined that this body appears to be like the self. It is so carefully constructed that in ignorance, under the influence of illusion, everyone in this world, including the big demigods and the great sages, rishis, jnanis, tapasvis, devatas, and all other intelligent people also, sattvic people also. Everyone thinks I am this body. So cleverly Maya has fashioned this body. The whole world, the entire creation, by birth, everybody is born in ignorance and they think I am this body. But the truth is, at least the gross body, it just consists of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and sky or space or ether. Different places Prabhupada uses different English words to explain what is this come. So these 5 elements are so very cleverly, intelligently, nicely combined that everyone very easily accepts this body as the self, as the person. Person means body, body means person. That's all. There's nothing more than that. But we also know every person has got a mind, has got intelligence, has got ego. And this little developed consciousness, one can understand, yes, uh, this mind is not exactly the same as this gross body. That we can understand. Like even when this gross body is healthy and functioning normally, the mind may be a source of disturbance. Like we say, no, my mind is very disturbed. So, which means that we recognize this mind is not the exactly same as this body, this gross body. So, this mind, intelligence, and the ego together, they constitute what is called as the subtle body. They are also body, deha. But they are not perceptible by the 5 senses. Corresponding to these 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, there are 5 senses. And there are 5 sense objects. Now, this is a little technical. Analyzing this matter, or technically what we say the field of activity for the spirit soul, Ketra, in 13th chapter. Prabhupada quotes 13th chapter also in this purport. Karanam gunasangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. 13th chapter technically analyzes what is body, who is the soul, and who is God. 3 distinctly different entities are very technically analyzed in the 13th chapter. The same 3 are analyzed in the 7th chapter also. And the same 3 are described in the 2nd chapter also. You see how Bhagavad Gita, systematically Krishna is presenting the truth, the absolute truth. Absolute truth means to know everything properly, understand everything in this world properly. So, Krishna begins by telling you're not the body, you're spirit soul, and the body is changing, continually changing. See, this word continually changing is very important. If it is not continuously changing, then change becomes very, very clear. But if something is continuously changing, we may not even notice the change, or we accept the change as not really any change. Just like you build a house and you move into the house. Now the house is reducing in strength with time, but it is not very obvious. Why? Because that reduction in strength is continuously happening. It is continuously happening. Therefore, sometimes it is seen people staying in very, very old house. I've seen this in Bhilai. You can even now go and see. There are people staying in very, very, very dilapidated condition house. You look at it from outside, you can say it's completely worn out. But it's not that they don't understand the house is worn out, but they are thinking that it is not so bad that we cannot stay. They argue that people say, why are you staying in this house? It's very risky, very dangerous. Anytime it can collapse. It looks like that also. But they say, no, 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 no. It is not going to collapse. It has become deteriorated. Yeah. It's not going to collapse. And they're still staying. And this is the Bhilai Steel Plant colony. The house doesn't belong to the people staying there. They are employees. Former employees. They are not even present employees. They're former employees. And somehow, after they retired, they're supposed to vacate the house. The quarters, no, that is given only as long as they're working. But they sought some time to vacate the house. And the organization, they are very considerate. They said, okay, how much time you require? 6 months. We are searching for another house. And they are poor people. So because they are poor people, they don't have money to immediately. They were staying in a free house. Now after retirement, they're not eligible for that. So 6 months time, they say, okay. 6 months extended to 1 year, 1 year extended to 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. In the meantime, what has happened is this house, because it's deteriorated too much, this apartment, the whole building, it is falling apart. So because all the people who are presently working, who are staying in that, they are shifted. But these people who are retired, that will be just very few, some 2 or 3 out of some 24 or something like that. So some 2 or 3 families, they'll be staying there. They are the former employees. And they will be buying time. And they think that somehow we can buy time and stay as long as we can. And the conditioning of the soul is such that if they go on getting adjusted to some dangerous position, if the danger doesn't immediately befall them, they think, oh, it will not happen tomorrow. It will not happen day after tomorrow. It will not happen day after tomorrow. Like this, they keep on postponing. They know they have to shift. They know they cannot stay forever. But then they also think, before death comes, you see, if this building doesn't fall apart, then our life itself is over. There is a need to shift. What is the need to shift? So like this, even we think this body is changing. We know body is changing from childhood to youth to old age. But we think, after all, it's so slow a change. I'm still not old. In youth and in childhood and youth, definitely we can say that I'm not old. But even when old age comes, I'm not so old. I'm growing old, yes. Any old person will accept I'm growing old, yeah. But I'm not so old. I'm still able to walk. I'm still able to see. I'm still able to function in this body. So it's not so old. So this is called the power of illusion. The power of illusion. And this illusory energy is working not only on old people, it's working on young people also. The old people think I'm not so old, but the young people think I'm never going to die. That's the problem with the youth. Effect of illusion on the youthful stage. And the effect of illusion on the childhood stage is Oh, I am growing and becoming stronger by the day. This is what the body appears to be like, no? Child doesn't have much strength. But a grown-up person, a youth, full of energy. I'm just waiting when I'm going to become a youth. So they are very excited about the change. If you tell them your body is changing, yeah, it should change. Why I should remain small and weak and so very fragile? So in childhood, it is desirable. In youth, hoping that the growth will stop. No more growth. It appears like that, no? For some time, that youthful stage remains, no? Immediately you don't feel that you've gone up to a certain level of strength and all the abilities and these facilities in the body you have developed. Then it stops. No further increase in strength or abilities or whatever. Then it starts deteriorating. But there is a phase which is called sustenance. That sustenance phase, one has reached a steady state of strength and skill and ability and everything. So that is the stage when illusory energy casts the illusion that you're going to remain like this forever. If I have been changing, but now I stop changing after reaching a certain, let's say, after reaching 25 years or 30 years, no more growth, but I am still remaining the same in strength. So then I'm going to remain like this forever. It's just a question of maintaining good health. Foolish people, they spoil their health. But I am intelligent, I am wise. I'm going to maintain my health. So even if the body later on becomes old, but if we are in good health and we are in the right spirit, even in old age, I can enjoy life. And they would have seen some examples of people. Very rarely you see, of course, there are some people, even in old age, they are maintaining good health, they are cheerful, and they are very positive in their attitude, and they don't seem to have any of the disadvantages of invalidity due to old age. Particularly the olden days, we used to hear this a lot, and I've seen also. I've seen old people who are perfectly healthy and having good sensual power. My grandfather, till the day he died, he never used spectacles. And then very rarely he would go to a doctor, consult a doctor. Mostly it was home remedies, but very rarely he would go to a doctor. And that also some Ayurvedic medicine. He would not go to any allopathic doctor. Ayurvedic medicines, some medicine that Ayurvedic physician will prescribe and will become all right very quickly. So he never got admitted to a hospital whole life. And his teeth were strong even when he was 85 years old. All his teeth were intact. And that is not so common nowadays. But those days I heard it was very common. And he used to do all his activities by himself. He was not dependent on anybody. And he would eat normal food. No change in diet because he has become old. So such people, they reinforce the illusion on youngsters that if you maintain good health, old age is not a problem. Old age is not a problem. And anyway, as far as death is concerned, especially for these healthy people who are not having any complaints, even in old age, ripe old age also. One day suddenly they die. So that is, then everybody will say that is something beyond our control. Okay. So let's not worry about death. As long as we live, let us live happily in this body. This is the grand illusion. This is the powerful influence of the illusory energy. So to come out of this illusion, Kaumaram acharet pragno dharman bhagavatan iha. Bhagavata dharma has to be taught, has to be inculcated right from childhood, from the age of 5. Because if in childhood one doesn't take up Krishna consciousness, is not given the opportunity, then the power of illusion is such that this so-called material knowledge or material education, it imprints in our mind and our intelligence develops in the wrong way, that we develop so much faith in material science. And material science always misleads people. You can maintain good health, you have healthy habits, and you can live a very nice life. You can be very healthy, you can be jolly, you don't have to don't worry, be happy. There was a song like this: don't worry, be happy. So all these kind of uh, illusory ideas take strong root. Therefore, Bhagavatam says, Kaumaram acharet pragyam. And then, as one practices Bhagavata Dharma, very easily one is able to understand, I'm not this body. And the easiest practice of Bhagavata Dharma is this chanting of Hare Krishna. Anybody who takes to chanting Hare Krishna, very, very, very easily, all these basic truths of Bhagavata Dharma, very easily it is understood without any difficulty. So therefore, this Bhagavata Dharma is very, very important. And you see the examples, unlimited examples are there in our scriptures. And you see the example of Vasudeva, who was situated in proper understanding because he is a devotee. And the opposite is Kamsa, such a foolish person. He thinks he can avoid death by immediately killing Devaki. Of course, he could not kill Devaki, but even if, let us say, somebody else were able to kill the mother of the child, which would be the cause of death, that doesn't mean that they can avoid death. We make our calculations. Just like Hiranyakashipu, when he wanted to get the boon of immortality from Brahma, and Brahma said, no, I cannot give you this boon of immortality because everyone has to die. Then he thought he will use his intelligence to ask for a boon by which he can avoid death by different causes. And he was successful because Brahma granted him that boon. You will not die being killed by an animal or a human being. You will not die in the night, or you will not die in the day. You will not die inside your palace or outside your palace, like this. All kinds of um, roundabout way of avoiding death, Hiranyakashipu conjured in his fertile brain after having done a lot of tapasya. But finally, could he avoid death? No. When death comes, death defeats all our attempts to avoid death. So that is the truth about death. And that is very nicely explained by Vasudeva, that even though your spirit soul, you don't die, but you have to quit this body, which is going to deteriorate and finally turn into the 5 elements from which it was constructed. And you're going to get a new body. Tatha dehantara praptihi. Praktanam tyajate vapuhu dehantaram anuprapya. When you get a new body, you have to quit this old body. So Prabhupada says the arrangement is perfect. That only when it is decided what type of body you're going to get, only then you quit this body. And that is pre-decided by higher authorities. You don't decide. Pre-decided by higher authorities. And then you are properly transferred from this body to the next body, the new body. And that is done by higher arrangement. We do not know what happens, except for a pure devotee. Others don't know what is happening at the time of death. So they are transferred by higher arrangement to the new body. And that's what Vasudeva was explaining to Kamsa. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki.